Welcome to my studio. When I first did the tour of my sewing room right here, I talked about these 3 shelves, 1, 2, 3, and that I was going to do fat quarter baskets to get my fat quarters out of the closet. Well, guess what? I've got 3 of them done, and today we're going to be doing another one. I'll give you the dimensions that I use, but I've used all of the same fabric on them. It's this print that I think is really kind of cool. It almost looks like it might be an Allison Glass sun print, but it's not. It's a batik that I found on a flat fold clearance rack. I was so excited. So this is the fabric. Let's get started on the fat quarter basket. I want to talk to you about the supplies you need. Okay, this is what you need to make one basket. You need 2 pieces of your outer fabric, and it can be any color you want it. Make it so you like what you're doing. These pieces need to be cut to 10 inches by 16.5 inches, okay? Then I put white lining on the inside of the basket, and again, you need 2 pieces of white, and I'm just cutting off my bolt of white, 10 inches again by 16.5 inches. For the color strip, I bought 3-inch strips. Well, actually, the fabric store made me buy more. We always can use more fabric, right? But I cut a 3-inch strip, the width of the fabric, of the color that I wanted. And then I used Pillon 101 fusible. It's a lightweight fusible liner or iron-on that gives it just the right texture and strength that I want it to have. And what I did was I pressed it on and then pressed over my seams about 1/2 inch, so it was easy to sew on. So when I put it on my basket, I have a 2-inch strip of color. Now there's some interfacing that I used, and I've used 2 types. One is Sonboul brand, and again, I don't know how to make this so it's going to be right, but I want you to see this. It's a foam, okay, and it's used in bag making, and this foam is really, it's a nice lightweight foam. Here's the cool thing. It's got iron-on sticky on both sides of it, and this is what I used. It's called NR Form Plus, and so Inner Form Plus, that's how they got the name of it. And as it turns out, it gives my baskets just the right strength on the sides, and it presses easily. I like it. Then I also add 1 layer of just white 100% cotton, and mine is Hobbs brand because that's what I have in my quilting studio, but it's white 100% cotton batting. I cut out 2 pieces of that, so and I fuse it on the other side of the Sonboul Inner Forms Plus. I'm at my machine. That's why you can't see my face, because I want you to see what I'm doing. But I'm going to use some other tools. I'm going to use a ruler. I want the a 2-inch measure on this ruler. I'm going to use my pin again, my heat soluble pin. And I'm going to use clips in construction, the little Wonder clips. I tried sewing my bags with pins and I just gouged myself something fierce. So I'm going to put those over here since I'm right-handed. And then of course you're going to need pins. And I've got my chick here holding my pins. So let's start constructing. The first thing we're going to do is take the two outside pieces, this one and the other one, and put them right sides together with the cut side on that corner down. So I'm going to pin them together because I don't want them to creep when I sew them. And if you've noticed, I've also removed the extension table from my sewing machine. It's just easier to get at my table and machine with making bags with the free arm. All right, so this I'm going to sew at 5/8 of an inch. Now, this is where you're going to need this ruler. I'm going to measure from the top of my fabric. Let's see, I want to do it this way. I'm going to measure from the top of my fabric 2 inches down on this ruler. And I'm going to draw right on the quilt, or right on the bag side. I'm going to make a nice big 2-inch strip there. And I'm going to go all the way across the top of the quilt. It's very vital to me. Did I call this a quilt? I'm sorry. I'm going to go completely across the fat quarter bag, marking this 2-inch strip. Okay, so can you see the strip is sewn on? And let me show you the back side. I've got it pressed down on that seam as well. So we're going to come along and sew the other side of the strip down. Now that I have that strip sewn down, your bag should look like this. Okay? So I'm going to trim that strip off. And then I'm going to finish the construction of the rest of the bag by folding this right side to right side on top of each other. And I want to match that color strip, even though it's going to be at the back. I still want to match it. I'm going to place a pin to hold it and then sew it down at 5/8 of an inch seam. So we're going to sew the bottom now. I'm going to put a pin in the bottom. And that's this kind of the bottom of the T. Holding those together. And we're going to sew those at 5/8 of an inch. When I do bag construction, I always backstitch and lock my seams. Okay, this bag is so easy. this is what we have. These two sides sewn together on the side, or these two pieces face to face sewn together on the side, the bottom, and on here with these little squares that are open. So this is the fun part. Tip your bag open and match the corner, match the seams. You can put in a pin if you want to, but fold them flat together. And then you're going to have your corner looking like this, all right? And we want to sew that at about 1/4 of an inch. Now, you can make this bag without the foam, but, so look what I have. Ta-da! I'm going to turn it right side out. Poking the corners out with my finger. Look at that. Oh, isn't that cute? There's the front of my bag. All it needs is a lining. And this is so simple to do. We're going to do the lining the exact same way that we did the basket. Only it wants to be sewn at a 1/2 inch seam. So I know right where my seams need to be. So let me put a pin in to hold my fabric. And then we're going to sew at a 1/2 inch. Let me show you on the bottom here. I didn't clip the threads, but I sewed, and I'm using light gray thread, I hope you can see, but I sewed and then I left an opening like this wide in the bottom. And it looks like it's about 4 inches long, so I can turn it, okay? Then I do the same thing with these corners that I did on the big bag. There you go. And there is your lining for your bag. See that? So this is the inside because the seams are on the outside. So I'm going to take the bag and I'm going to, let me move this camera over here a little bit so you can see me work it. But I'm going to kind of fold the bag in like this and just stick it in. Pull that lining right over it. Those corner seams should be close. And then I'm going to do that to the other side as well. Just tuck it down inside those corners. And this is where you're going to use your Wonder Clips. Like I say, I pinned the first 2 bags that I made. It poked me all over the place when I was sewing. So starting with the Wonder Clips, we're going to match the side seams and clip them together. Come around to the other side seam. So I'm just finger pressing that side seam open, and give a little tug on your lining if it's not, right up to the top of, you see how I'm doing that? Let me turn this over so you can see better. So kind of work the lining a little bit and then put a wonder clip on it. So we're going to do this all the way around this bag. Okay, this is the awkward part, and this is why I want my my table off of my basket, because I do a lot of bending and manipulating of this basket, and I don't know if you can see or not, but this basket is below. If my table were here, it would all be shoved up into the machine like this. So that's why you want to go with a with your table off. Okay, I'm going to sew this all the way around at a 1/2 inch. I've gone completely around the bag. Let's back stitch, pull my needle up, and ta-da! Let me turn it for you. Okay, remember that opening that we left in the bottom open? Well, here it is. And I'm just going to go through that opening and kind of wad up the basket corners as much as I can and pull that through that opening. I'm going to push them through here. This is the super exciting part, folks. Then I'm going to go down with my fingers and poke out those corners. My hand is in the opening at the bottom of the lining. Ta-da! Look at that. Yay! Isn't that exciting? So fast. So what I'm going to do next is take this little opening right here, and I'm going to hold it, just pinch it together right here, and I'm going to sew it shut as close to that opening as I can. Okay. I'm going to back stitch it. There's not really going to be any pressure or anything coming from this opening. It's going to be totally stress-free because it sits at the bottom of the basket. So you stick that down, you push everything down in, and it looks like this, but that's not good enough. So this is the interfacing, that foam interfacing sticking up, and what I'm going to do is take it to my machine and I'm going to press this down like so. So it doesn't have that white at the top. And then once it's all pressed down, I'm going to clip it and run a top stitch around this basket, and it will be done. So I finished the basket, I'm pressing it, I've pressed it, and I'm kind of crimping it with my finger pressing it to give it a good shape. And I think it's time to put my lovelies into their new home. Are you excited about your new home? As excited as I am to give it to you? Oh, you just caught me talking to my fabric. Another thing that we quilters might do. Anyway, isn't this just great? I can't wait to get the rest of the baskets finished, and I'll have a whole row of rainbows on these shelves. It'll be so much fun, and such a fun, easy, fast project. It's totally worth it. I'll go ahead and post the measurements for each basket, the supply list, seam allowances, and etc. So you can make your own fabric basket to put fat quarters or whatever you would like to put in them. Also, just thanks for checking in. It was fun sewing these today. Goodbye from me and the chick.